The average broke person thinks about money as a tool that buys you a nice car or a big house or a fancy vacation. The average middle class person thinks about money as a tool that needs to be saved and protected and hidden because you worked so hard to get it. But the average rich person thinks money is a magnet that's sole purpose is to attract you more money. Now you might say, it's easy to think like that when you're rich, but rich people don't start thinking like rich people after they become rich. You have to think like a rich person before you can actually become a rich person. And if you don't have the success that you've been dreaming about yet, what do you got to lose? But Jaspreet, I'm already working so hard. There's a difference between working hard and thinking like a rich person. I don't say this to brag, but I do pretty well financially. I have a strong investment portfolio. I have this hobby that I run, my YouTube channel with a couple million subscribers. And then I have my main job, which is running my company, Briefs Media. And I don't spend a lot of money on my car, but last year I finally decided to upgrade my $500 Toyota Solara, which really I ran into the ground. What did I get? A brand new 2024 Toyota RAV4. But the weirdest thing happened as soon as I bought my new RAV4. I started seeing RAV4s everywhere. My Uber started picking me up in RAV4s. I started parking next to RAV4s. Even my neighbor apparently had a RAV4. This is called the frequency illusion. You see more of what you think about. When you focus on what's wrong in your life, you see more problems. When you focus on opportunities and success, you see more opportunities. If you want to change the success that you see financially, you have to start by changing your mindset. And it sounds like a whole bunch of hippy-dippy stuff, but the reality is if you don't get your mindset right, it doesn't matter how much financial education you study. It doesn't matter how many YouTube videos you watch. It doesn't matter how many books you read. It doesn't matter how many courses you take. You are going to be the person that stops you from becoming successful, because anytime you see a good opportunity, you're going to start second guessing yourself. Well, what if I need that money for something else? What if I need that money for a vacation? What if I need that money for groceries? What if I need that money for an emergency? Or what if this investment goes down? And you start overthinking, you start second guessing, even though you think that this is a good opportunity. And then by the time you decide to make the decision, oh, it's too late. The opportunity is already passed and it probably wasn't a good one anyways. And then you see that you missed out on an amazing opportunity. It wasn't that the opportunity wasn't there. It wasn't that you weren't ready. You were the person that stopped yourself. I was just talking to two business owner friends of mine. One of them was struggling to hit that $100,000 a year milestone, and he was really having a tough time, and he kept complaining about everything going wrong in his business and went on to say, why me? Why is God punishing me? The other person just saw his business pass $30 million a year, and he was talking about the opportunity of how he's going to get to $100 million a year, and kept saying that he wants to go out and find business owners making $100 million a year because there's something that he doesn't know how to do yet. Now you might say it's a lot easier to be more optimistic when you're making a lot more money, but how do you think you're going to be able to make more money? You have to change your mindset before you actually see the success in your bank account. You have to be wealthy in your mind before you're wealthy in the bank. And here's the real secret. If you don't have the success that you're looking for just yet, there's something you don't know. If you thought the way rich people thought, and you did exactly what rich people did, don't you think you would be rich yourself? Chances are yes. I think you can see where I'm going with this. And this is where you have two options. You can either blame the rest of the world for your problems. You can blame your boss, you can blame your parents, you can blame your family, you can blame Wall Street, you can blame the government, you can blame every single person in the world, which number one, does not solve the problem, and number two, it keeps you stuck. Or you can take ownership of where you are, and you can start taking responsibility for everything going wrong, and then you can start taking responsibility for finding the opportunities. I was reading a book the other day, and what it says is there's no such thing as a rich victim, which was a very interesting thing to say. Because when you feel stuck, it's very easy to blame other people for your problems, because you don't want to blame yourself for being in this situation. I mean, if I'm struggling financially, I don't want to blame myself that I made some stupid decisions, that I made some stupid financial purchases, that I did some stupid things that I shouldn't have done. I don't want to say that. I'm going to say my boss isn't paying me enough money. The government's taking too much money in taxes. The government's giving all the tax breaks to rich people, and rich people are taking all the money away from me. Which, let's think about this for a second. There's more than $36 trillion worth of national debt out there. There's more money being printed every single day. There's a lot of money in the world. Nobody is taking the money away from you. Nobody's putting a gun to your head telling you to go to the Gucci store and buy that expensive wardrobe that you can't afford. Nobody's telling you to finance your BMW. Nobody's telling you to live in that apartment. Nobody's forcing you to do any of these things. And so now you got to make the decision. Do you want to keep playing the blame game, or do you want to take the ownership and now Figure out how you can find the opportunity, because you can't find the opportunity when you're playing this game. When you're constantly blaming everybody else and you hate rich people because they're taking all the money, you hate the government, you hate the boss, you hate everybody because everybody's screwing you over. Imagine wanting to be a successful person. It's not possible, because you're not going to want to go out and do something that you believe is bad. If you believe rich people are bad and evil, your brain is going to intuitively not want you to do that, because you don't want to be a bad and evil person. You're going to want to be a good person. So if rich people are bad and evil, that's what you associate with being rich, you're never going to allow yourself to become rich. Which means you have to change the way you think and start thinking like an owner. You have to start thinking like an investor. You have to start thinking like a rich person. You have to start thinking about the opportunity and start taking the responsibility yourself if you really want to see a change. And I know that can be hard to hear. It can feel very rough. It doesn't feel very normal. But if you want to change where you are, you have to start by changing the way you think. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to continue your financial education journey, I have another video that I think you'll love. All you got to do is click that button right over there. And for those of you who want to stay up to date on the top finance and business news, you can join Market Briefs, my free financial newsletter, by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.